Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson. This is the Christmas edition. Hooray! I even have my special Christmas hair bling going today. And I'm super grateful to be here with you. So much appreciation for all of you. Thank you. It's so good to see you. Well, to find out about these, you can join my group online. It's Facebook /groups/ Wisdom Dialogues. Yeah. And you'll find out when these are coming up in case you're just watching and you would like to join sometime. So if no one has a question to begin, then I got some. Molly, aloha Molly. So I have some questions, some fun questions written down here. If reality isn't real for anyone because it's only states of consciousness, then why do we die as individuals? Oh, that's a super fun question. If reality isn't real for anyone. Okay, I think what he's referring to here is if the illusion isn't real. Because obviously reality is real. Reality is what's aware of everything. And everything is an illusion. Hooray. If reality isn't real, let's change that. If illusion isn't real, because I think that's what he means. If illusion isn't real because it's only states of consciousness, then why do we die as individuals? Well, because it's an illusion, because it's not real. Because consciousness itself, its own source, is the idea that there can be separation. To have consciousness, it has to be conscious of something. Conscious of something as consciousness. So there has to be an identity and then consciousness of something. Okay? So that's the bodies that arise in consciousness. They're kind of like a candle. We're the flame. It's made up of beliefs. The body is made up of beliefs. It says, why do we die as individuals? Well, it's funny because there's no such thing as an individual. That is an illusion. Illusions pass away. So if there's an illusion of an individual, then that individual has got to pass away. Everything that's illusion passes away. And everything that passes away is an illusion. Isn't that fun? Okay. Why do we die as individuals? There's no death. We don't die. The thought that we are an individual dies. That thought dies. That thought structure. Basically, it passes away. So it makes an appearance that there's been a physical death. Okay? That's all. The energy still goes on. The energy is also made of thought. Energy is also passing. It's also an illusion. Energy goes on as long as there's the illusion of consciousness. It's not eternal. Only what's aware of energy is eternal. Energy is subtle thought, that's all. Okay? why is it wrong to be individuals? Well, it's not wrong, it's just impossible. An individual is basically a bunch of thoughts. It's a bundle of information. So it's not wrong to be an individual. It's just there's no individual. That's all. It might be phrased, why is it wrong to think that we're individuals? Well, that, of course, that's not wrong either. There's no wrong in the first place. It is a setup for misery. That's that could be called wrong. I don't know. Is that what we want? We want to be an individual so we can be set up for misery. We want to believe that we're individuals. Let me put it this way. It's one thing to perceive individuals. It's another thing to believe individuals are the actual being. It's the light that's within them, or the consciousness that's within individuals that's making them seem individual. But really, consciousness is one movement. One movement. There's no difference between this apparent individual that you see that's been given the name Hope Johnson and your computer screen, for instance, or anything else. It's all moved by consciousness. No one's doing anything. There's not individuals to do anything. And as soon as it's identified, as consciousness gets identified as an individual, it's a setup for suffering. It's a setup for the notion of I need to make money, I need a spouse, I need to have kids, I need to do well at my job, I need to maintain my weight, all this other different stuff, and it's just a whole lot of occupation with thought. Need. Yeah. Individuals seem to need stuff. It's not that things aren't taken care of. I mean, it's not like your senses work when you're not identified as an individual. The senses are still going to work fine. The senses of the world. The senses of the world work. That's received in the subconscious mind, and then the body's moved about to do its thing. It's only when there's interference with identification as an individual that becomes some kind of thing where it's making suffering, making illusion of conflict between people, making the illusion that we hurt people and we get hurt by people. Okay, that's what's actually making that illusion. There's really no such thing as that. It's really a dream that stuff even happens. Okay, so it's like whenever there's a perception, like I'll just tell you from my own experience, whenever there's a perception that someone just did something to me, there's just kind of like a willingness to feel whatever that feels like. To feel, basically, feeling what it feels like, to think, to believe that there's individuals, that I'm an individual. And the most amazing thing has transpired with that, where, there's this idea that someone just did something to me, and there's a willingness to just stay with the feeling. And these beautiful insights arise that'll show just exactly what kind of beliefs are being held that are making it seem as if this is happening. Okay? I'll give you one super simple example. Lori, I see you have your hand up. I'm going to be right over to you. Thank you. I'll put one example out there that I actually brought up yesterday in personal or in-person wisdom dialogues. And it was hearing my husband say, calm down. Yeah? This is a real simple one, but it could be anything. So, for probably years, hearing him say, calm down, would make a trigger in me. And for a lot of that, it was like this need to fight against that. Fight against being seen as not calm, number one. Number two, someone telling me what to do. Okay? So as that trigger gets checked, it comes apparent what's really being communicated, and also why that trigger is there. It becomes real easy to see that there's a thought that is resisting being seen as not calm. That's part of it, being seen not calm. That's a perception of someone else's perception. Isn't that fun? But all it's pointing to is our own belief that's being held down right now in the moment of that trigger. In the moment of that trigger, the trigger cannot happen unless this belief is being held. A belief about myself. So there's a belief about hope is calm. And so if you say calm down, that's an insinuation that I'm not calm. So then that's a trigger. Number one. Okay, so seeing the beliefs being held down, not even trying to let go of them or anything. Just basically seeing the belief that's being held. Okay. The other one, of course, don't tell me what to do. That's just the thing that I'm an individual. Of course, whenever anyone's talking, here's a thing that's so clearly and easily seen. Whenever anyone's speaking to us, it's what they're saying to themselves. They're saying to themselves. They're speaking to themselves. Okay? All the time. Always. What is in it for us is how we feel in response, because that's showing us the conversation we're having right now with our subconscious mind. The feeling that's in it for us. See how there's kind of like a little trick. It'll trick us into thinking that the conversation is going on out here between myself, an individual, and another individual. When really what's going on is a conversation in the mind. It's a mental conversation, and it can be felt as sensation. So you put those two together, and you're living in a completely different paradigm than the delusional paradigm that's so common. There's absolutely no threat. There's no harm in anything that anyone says or does. You get the same amount of love and appreciation. And there's harmony. And then here's another part to that. It becomes obvious that, what's really being communicated when the words calm down come out are, I'm feeling uncomfortable or uneasy right now. I don't want to go down that whatever you're talking about right now. I don't want to go that way, So then there's a willingness and an understanding to just be with that person and whatever they happen to be going through, because that person is really ourselves. There's no separation at all. When it's just seen that, oh, that's uncomfortable for them right now. Okay, well, how would I like to be treated in that situation? I mean, that's kind of like what just naturally comes up. All right, Lori's got a question. All right. Let me unmute Lori. Aloha, Lori.
Hi there. I took my hand down because I kind of forgot. It was triggered in the moment in the beginning of that.
Really awesome.
Okay. It was something about, oh, yes. Okay. So I was triggered slightly this weekend when I was with my sister's son, and he looked right in my eyes and said that he needed to ask me a question, something he heard about me and from his parents, and it wasn't very nice of what, and he said, you don't have to answer me. I just, it was just bothering him that she said this about me going on my trips and stuff, and I'm apparently sleeping with men. That's why I go on trips by myself. Oh my God. Okay, so I was
Ah,
literally blown away by this. I was like, what? I looked at him like, wow. So, and I told him point blank, right in his eyes, that I've never, whatever. Anyway, I was completely honest with him, and I had that arising of the wanting to defend at first, and then
awesome.
it let go. I didn't let anything go. I mean, I saw the thoughts of,
Yeah.
what a bitch. What the fuck is she saying about me? Blah, 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 blah. But then I don't even know what happened seriously, and it went away. And I
Yep.
could honestly talk with him. Okay, this is the freedom that I am experiencing from this teaching over the
Hmm.
past 5 years.
Yeah.
It's okay, but how do you know? Okay, there's not just one big boom that you're done. How do you know when the individual is gone? How, is there such a point?
No.
There isn't. It's a never-ending process of,
You know how you'll know, Lori?
what, when I don't have to ask?
When you, no? Well, maybe that too. But you don't see anything as separate. That perception is gone.
Okay, so definite,
Look, this kind of illusion where we have bodies that die.
right, right,
Okay?
okay, okay,
That's
so,
that's indicative of an individual.
right,
Period. Period.
okay,
And we don't have to try to get anywhere. It's kind of like a game of hide and seek. This individual arises and it's like, hey, I'm an individual. And it's like, oh no,
right,
you're not actually. Hey, look.
yeah. So this transition shit could go on for years.
Well, you're calling something transition shit, and then and see, like it's being labeled as something, like as if anything's happening. See how
Right.
there's like this sensation of something that wants to get somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a huge individuality thing too, because
Yeah.
it's really there's just nothing. There's nowhere to go. There's actually nowhere to go.
Wow.
All that idea that there is anywhere to go, that's like the feeling of the individual.
Okay, that I see that clearly.
Yeah.
And including listening to talks like this and seeking and because I listen to a lot of different, different
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I would suggest that that may be why you don't have to believe, or one way to put it is to add on to these thoughts that say, "Oh, what a bitch," because those kinds of thoughts, you could feel those. Those are
Right.
complete suffering.
Right, yes, and I could see
Yeah.
them clearly. That's
Yeah,
even
so that's huge. I mean, that's wonderful. That's like the Buddha, at one point said, "A life is awakening." And that's not a noun.
mm,
That's not the end, you know. So
no.
it's like as long as this illusion is arising, this illusion of separation is arising, that's the beauty. That's where the beauty of you shines through. I mean, there's actually when there's no consciousness, there's no beauty because there's not an opposite to it. Okay? It's also not necessary because the reality that's beyond the consciousness, there's actually no need for beauty because it's so beautiful. Do you see what I'm saying? It's actually that beautiful that there's no need for beauty, and it's opposite. But in the illusion, when the illusion is arising, it's basically arising before our consciousness, which we're aware of consciousness. We're not even consciousness. Consciousness could be said as the closest thing to what we are because it's born out of that idea and separation, right? And and that's what births the individual, the idea of separation. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's all us, and it's not who we are. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So consciousness and awareness is the same thing?
Distinct, distinct, not separate. So awareness is just aware.
Right, being aware of the
Consciousness,
thoughts.
yeah. And consciousness is can be said is conscious of illusions. Okay,
Okay.
that's what it can be, because consciousness is to be conscious of something, right?
Okay. Right.
Okay. And then there's even before that awareness that senses the consciousness.
Oh boy, you lost me.
Yeah, it's okay. No need.
Yeah.
No need. It picks up wherever it needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'll be watching this again as soon as you
Uh-huh.
post.
Yeah,
Try to-
it picks up. I could say it basically this way, and I did a post on it. I did a post on it a couple days ago, and there's basically this mind that's completely pristine and and created in love. Okay, and all this there that we call we are these microcosms of awareness within the mind. Okay, and
Right.
then
Oh, each individual, so-called individual, is my, in this mind.
yes, they're not even really an individual.
Right.
It's just a different aspect of mind.
Of mind. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
And it's like these aspects of mind, they're known as creations. They're known as creations, okay? And
Yeah.
they're perfect, they're eternal. They're unchanging. Nothing changes. In these aspects of creation, basically a thought, a beautiful, pristine, all-loving thought, starts to think on its own, starts to think on its own, separate from its source. And then there's consciousness. It's sort of like a mist or a cloud. It'll actually be laid aside. It'll actually be very gently laid aside by us when it's just recognized that it's unnecessary. Right now, it just seems like it's necessary to most everyone.
Mm.
Like, it seems like it's necessary for this to go on, and like even the procreation and everything like that. I mean, it's not a problem, procreation and stuff like that, but it's that belief that it's needed. Belief that it's needed is that setup for suffering, and basically, being conscious is suffering because it requires opposites. It requires these opposites. So it's like noticing that the consciousness is only arising. That gives you the perspective, as that which is aware, to just take anything that arises, take it all in, and then there's no suffering over it. So the consciousness can still be there, could still be arising, but there's no one there to suffer over it.
Yeah.
There's not this holding down of thoughts. Anything could happen. Anything can happen, but there's no one there to suffer about it.
Mm.
If there's a fear that certain things shouldn't happen, or I heard it put yesterday at Wisdom Dialogues in person, one person said, "I don't believe this will happen to me." That's the same thing as saying, "I'm afraid that this might happen to me."
Right, right, right.
Right? But if there's any, "I'm afraid that this might happen to me," that's always an indication of an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's
because the
it's just like,
individual is full of fear.
yeah, it's just like seeing through it. And it's like, even if suffering arises, like, well, I can't even say that suffering arises. Suffering is almost more like something that we do.
Yeah. As an individual, it
Yeah,
is suffering.
it's a pretense. It's a pretense. It's like I'm this individual and this is happening to me. So it's more like something that
Not
we do
real.
than anything that happens to us.
Right.
Remember we were talking about that more subtle choice. Um, it's like even when we find ourselves doing suffering, right?
Right.
There's actually a choice in that. Sometimes it's not seen that there's a choice in it. I mean, I've even found myself where, okay, it's obvious I'm doing suffering right now.
Mm,
But it's also seeing that it's a really strong temptation in that moment.
mm,
And there absolutely could be, and there even is that making of that choice on a real subtle level, just to see that I'm doing this, and then not make the choice to project, just like what happened with you. It's like
yeah.
you see those thoughts, you could
Mhm.
project, it feels tempting, right?
Yeah, I even knew exactly what I was going to say back because I
Mhm.
have some stuff on her and I didn't it didn't even it was a thought and it was gone.
Uh-huh.
Gone. Did
Yes.
not need to go there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Beautiful. What a
yeah,
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful uh,
see,
example.
yeah,
Example too. I mean, that right there is everything. It's so much more than anything, any words you can say.
yeah,
It's
it's
just
true.
being that beautiful piece, even in the midst of some kind of accusation, some kind of mean
Right.
accusation. And it's such a beautiful thing to experience that, because you can really kind of step into the shoes of the, I'm going to say, other person, but it's really our
Yeah,
own self,
that's
that we're stepping right
exactly
into the
where
shoes.
that's exactly where I went.
Yeah.
Exactly where I went. I said I had an actual sadness
Mm-hmm.
that she had to do that to herself,
Uh-huh.
you
Uh-huh.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's beautiful. That's almost like, it's there's one way to say it is, that's a kind of, the word suffering is coming up, but I know there's a better one. But I'm just gonna say that one. Let's say that's just a kind of, that's a kind of suffering that's kind of, one way to say it, transformational.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
actually feeling that.
I felt,
It's like
yeah.
feeling for them,
Yes.
because they are you anyways. So
Right.
that can totally be done. That's beautiful. It's almost like giving. It is so much like giving a gift. You know,
Mm.
just
Yeah.
feeling a
Because,
gift to
because,
yourself.
yeah, there was no revenge or needing to, you know, yeah, I see where that would have been, that would have been suffering.
Yes, you see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
clearly.
so that also opens the way for all of your loved ones. And like what I've seen in my own experience is these loved ones, these ones that are in my space, these ones who have, endured with me, these this being under delusion and acting like someone did something to me and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Noticing how they all seem to calm down, they all seem to feel so much better and happier about themselves as they go about, you know.
Mm.
That's why it's such a beautiful gift, because there's no one out there. It's all the same one. It's all our own self. So it's like when you feel that sadness, you're feeling it yourself, and you're
Mm.
feeling it in a way that's healing. You're not feeling it in a
Uh,
way that's adding illusion.
Perpetuating more. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, so that's like it's a beautiful. In fact, somebody said it beautifully. And you know what? He was a full-on Christian, and actually, I'm actually promoting Christianity in it, but the way it hit me, I have to just read this.
Okay.
Okay, where are you? Yes, over here. He does a whole thing about, it's also about Christ, and this burning sensation.
Excuse me.
Where though? That's the thing.
It was on Facebook?
Yeah, and it wasn't even with me. It wasn't even with me. This is really great. Okay, view more replies. I'm on to it. I'm on to you. He says, okay, someone asked him a question. Okay, so someone says, does God have a name? And he said, he sure does. He sure does, but you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But if you want to know him, then you'll come and see who he is and what that means. And then he says, why would you choose death? He is the only option, my brother. See where that's pointing? It's all the same. Why would you choose death? It's like that choosing with illusions is basically choosing death.
Mm.
It's like it's like you die and you're killing in that moment, where it's adding energy to illusion. Only his word has the power to separate you, both soul and spirit. It's like this it's like this word, it's the word, basically our thought, having the power to separate. And it's only an illusion. There's no real separation. It never even happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's only when language came
Yeah.
about.
Yes. Yes. And that,
Language.
yeah. And so all these religions are pointing to the exact same thing. They're talking about the exact same thing. But it gets convoluted by belief in separations. That's why in the Bible Jesus would say, those who have eyes to see can see. If those who have ears to hear this message. You know, and what's happening is this sense of separation is coming in, and it wants to make up these concepts even about spirituality and hold them and protect them. And that's why there's debate about them and stuff. There's this need for debate. There's this need for controversy.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Well, separateness. It causes controversy.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So it makes us unconsciously go around looking for controversy, and that's where we find it. That's why we find it everywhere.
Because
even
it's constantly
we find
right. Yep. Yeah. I see that.
Wants all our love. He wants all our love, and he won't take anything less. Anything less than that is adding to illusion. It's like anything less than love is adding to illusion. You could say consciousness wants all your love and won't take anything less. So like if there's not complete love and acceptance, then what's happening is an impression to the subconscious mind that we want to experience lack of love. That's an impression every time because it's a feeling. It's a feeling. Lack of love is a feeling.
Mm.
So if that feeling is being taken as true, remember feeling is subtle thought.
The lack of love is a feeling. That's instant separateness.
Yes.
That's what separateness is.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You've heard it said God is love, and like God's creations, which we talked about earlier, all created in love. So the feeling of lack of love is like it's so painful. And for the most part, we have devices to cover up that pain, and one of them is projection. So when we're feeling this pain, one way to get some relief that's temporary is to shoot that pain somewhere else, like to say, Lori's a whore.
Right. It's a theme from the beginning when we first started doing this.
Isn't this fun? My goodness. I love it.
It's too funny.
Yeah. So when you see it for how it is, it's so easy to embrace it. The embracing is just automatic.
Sometimes. Till the next situation comes. Or my granddaughter's here and she wants to put her socks on the outside of her pants and I don't want it. They're zigzag socks. They don't match and I want them on the inside of her pants.
Yay! Hooray!
I looked at her and said, "You are challenging me, kid." And we walked out the door, and she had her socks up to her knees on the outside of her pants.
And they were an unmatching.
No, actually, this time they were actually matching, thank God. But it was tough.
so,
It was hard.
so it's so beautiful though, because there is definitely something not being seen there. That's all it is.
Well, I
So
saw that it was an image of the way she was going to look at our family Christmas party with these zigzag, bright pink and yellow and gray socks on the outside.
yes, yes, and that and to an idea of who you are, that
Exactly.
means something. That
Yes.
means something. That's
Yes.
all.
I
And
saw
so
it, but it did
yeah.
not take away the suffering.
Okay, there's definitely something not being seen. So the I saw it is
Yes.
also association with an individual, okay?
Right.
That
Yes.
right there is that saying I saw it.
Yes.
It's actually resisting seeing what's really there. Okay? If it is whenever there's a trigger anytime, there's a blindness. All
Right.
right. If there's
But it
not a feeling of total, see, here's how that kind of thing would transpire it, in my own experience. Okay,
yeah.
the recognizing of the trigger that feels like there's something wrong with her going with unmatching socks.
Yes.
There
Right.
could be something wrong. The recognition of the trigger allowing itself to to just present itself as it is, to just be felt and present itself as it is. Okay, it's
Right.
like, and it's not even like a two-step process. It's really kind of instantaneous. It's just from a willingness to see.
Right.
When there's identification with the thought, I see it,
Mm-hmm.
that's shutting it off to seeing more.
Uh, uh,
Okay, because that's a conclusion. That's a conclusion right there.
okay.
As long as there's any kind of discomfort
Yes, which continued. Yes.
with it, yeah, as long as there's any kind of discomfort with it going that way, that
There's
sense of
more.
needing to control the outcome,
Yes, I was trying to
there's
control.
something not seen, I promise.
Ah, wow. I
Yeah,
can't
that's the
imagine what
thing.
else it could be.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's not in the imagination.
Oh,
It's like it's more like a revelation. It's just automatically there. And then it's like automatically there, and you could see cause and effect. And when it's seen, when it's actually seen, when the cause of the manifestation is seen, that
mhm.
manifestation of a triggered feeling is
Yes.
seen, the trigger is gone.
Gone. That's why I'm pissed off right now because it's not going to go away. It's going to come back because I don't see it.
It's
I
going to
thought I
come back
saw it.
until yeah, it's going to come back only until it's seen, and that's the thing. The I thought I saw it is only
Yes.
a thought, and
Right.
it's fine as long as it's not believed.
Damn. Damn it.
See how it's like hide and seek, though?
Yes. And I really want to find it.
And see, there it is again. There's that
Yeah.
association with I.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Totally. Completely. Completely.
So hooray!
Jesus, hooray.
I promise it's all for fun. It's just like a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I promise it is just like a game.
Okay. So,
Think of it
how
as
did you come to that realization that it's fun to see this shit? Or to,
experience. Yeah, I really experience.
I mean,
Because the feeling, it comes down to a feeling. Everything is a feeling,
yes.
and and and
And
they all feel good.
when it's
All
felt,
are-
yes, or seen,
yeah,
you can't help but laugh. And
yeah,
humility sets in immediately.
sure.
Yeah. So, but
we're playing. We're in a, it's like it's all play. It's all like children playing. Like there's no this thing where we become these serious adults. It's just an illusion. I mean, this is all play. And at the same time, there's as a paradox to that, it's it's very important that we see through the illusion that it's not play because we really want to play.
Right, because when you're not seeing through the illusion, it doesn't feel like play.
Exactly.
Mm,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's only being under the spell of the illusion that makes it seem like it's not playful.
Right, right.
Yeah. That's the
Beautiful.
thing. So whenever it seems like it's not playful, I mean, in my experience, it's like when I could sense my energy pretty quickly when it seems like it's not playful, and then sometimes like about I think like a week and a half ago, there was this thing that came up, and there was a trigger, and there was projections, and it just went for probably like 24 hours.
Mm.
Okay, so
I'm so
so
glad to hear that.
and the thing is, that's not a problem either.
Yeah.
See,
There's a connection.
yeah, there's this association as a self in the subconscious mind that's completely not personal. There's
Mm,
nothing personal about it. So it's not like hope has to be this certain way all the time. I will
right.
say that this is an anomaly where there will be something that, or at least it has been in my experience over the past couple of years, to be drawn by a trigger for especially a period like that, like a 24-hour period.
Mm,
Um, but even as it's going on, there's this sense of this is awesome, because for one thing, it shows what it's like to be under the impression that there's an individual. What does it feel like
ah,
under the impression that there's an individual? And
right.
in feeling that, it also can allow us to relate too. It's like that's where this compassion comes in. It's like there's this
Mm,
self-compassion that allows us to relate when we experience our mirrors, which is really ourself showing some sort of weakness, let's put it like that,
mm,
apparent weakness,
right,
right?
right,
So there's not this automatic jump to, well, you should be seeing
right, right.
such and such and such and such.
Hmm.
And then our relationships are also so much more harmonious because we can be that support. It's easy to be that support. That adds richness. It adds the experience of life, the experience of all of these this so-called drama.
Mm,
To actually feel what it feels like to go into that so-called drama.
mm,
You know, and just seeing it for what it is, because it's a seeing it even deeper. Let it be transformative. Allow that to be transformative, because that's really what it's for. It's like this sense of self is a sense of self that is not separate from any other sense of self.
right, right,
There's these separate illusions of senses of selves, that's all.
right.
So it's like when we see that there's no difference between one sense of self and the perception of another sense of self, then there's no need to create this separatism where, well, you should be, and in fact, that projection right away, they should be more conscious, or um,
Right, right, right,
they
right.
should know that this is a trigger. They should know that this is a trigger even.
Mm,
So that kind of thing will come up for, like you should know that that's a trigger. That's a beautiful one right there, just to say,
mm,
okay, that's what thought is being believed right now about myself. No
mm,
wonder this feels so painful.
mm.
You just see that.
Yeah, that's in there.
It's always this buried, it's always something buried coming up. That's the reflection. One way I've heard it put is, it's like we go and we look in the mirror, And we don't fall under the illusion that if, our teeth aren't brushed, we should brush the teeth in the mirror. Right? We should brush the mirror to clean the teeth like that. But for some reason, we fall under the illusion when we see another person and they look sad that means that they're sad.
Okay, slow that one down.
Okay.
Okay, I got the brushing the teeth in the mirror. You don't do that. But if a person comes up and is sad,
Yeah.
we
That's
don't.
me. That's me. That's my sadness.
It's my sadness.
Yes.
My
Yes.
okay.
Not as an individual. Not as an individual.
Oh.
See? It's like it's
Oh,
like the way we're really relating to this illusion is as consciousness, not as an individual.
oh, that's
We're
hard.
relating to this illusion as consciousness, but in also in the view of awareness.
Right. Because there's
When
definitely
yeah,
awareness.
yeah, when we think we're relating as an individual, when we see a sad face, we think that person's sad.
Right.
When that's really my sadness. When I see a sad face, that's my sadness. So I'll allow that sadness uh, to show itself, to be embraced in me. And when that sadness is allowed to be embraced in me, then I'm really meeting that other person at that level.
Wow.
See,
Huh.
then I'm meeting that other person. That's a true compassion. Then I'm really meeting that other person with compassion because I'm
Right.
not projecting that that person is sad
Right. Or that they shouldn't be sad.
or that they shouldn't be sad. But even the projection that they are sad or they are happy, right? That's
That's
mine.
right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I'm embracing. I'm embracing. And don't get caught on that word. I'm embracing as if I'm doing
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, you're right.
It's
The
just as
bracing is happening.
yeah, because it's seeing and seeing and accepting. I mean, one thing is just accepting that that's mine and taking
Right.
responsibility.
That right there would be huge, I
That's
think.
huge. That is
Yeah.
huge. Because, and even the experience of first accepting something really hard to accept as mine,
Mm.
the experience of it was like going through a fire. It was very, very hot. And
Yeah.
here's what he says right here. Be ready for the baptism by fire. It's good, but not easy. And you'll never be alone again, and your strength will grow as you become closer friends with him.
Okay, say that in your words.
Okay. It's like okay, this baptism by fire, it's almost like you're being transformed by this fire.
Mm.
This fire as in just this willingness to be shown that it's me. Be shown that it's me. Because
Right.
right now I'm not seeing that this is me. I'm seeing that this is outside of me.
Right, right.
It's hurting me and it's a total threat to me. This willingness to be shown that it's me, it's kind of like the same thing as what they're talking about. It's like requesting that baptism by fire because as these beliefs are burning, it's sort of like a burning.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
it be felt as a sensation in the body, and it's like a good burn.
yeah.
It's like a,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
a feel that it's transformative because
Burning that individual.
yeah, because
Yeah,
nothing is the same again after that. There's no
right.
relating in the same way. There's no return. There's no going back to the old way of the way you used to relate. And then he
Yeah.
said it's not easy, but you'll never be alone again.
Wow.
Like all of your relations are you. You're not alone again. And your strength will grow as you become closer friends with him. It's like this him is this light that shines within every person and every
Mm.
perception. And you're such good friends with them that there's not an opposite to that. There's not
Wow.
not friends.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
But you see how the words can trigger something that wants to fight
Yeah.
with it?
Oh my God. That's why I said, put it in your words, please. Because that religious shit totally gets me triggered. Oh God. Growing up Catholic, it just, ooh.
Yeah. So that's exposing a wound right there. So
Yeah, definitely.
every time you hear this kind of thing that you're labeling religious shit, every
Yeah.
time you hear this, notice this is for you right now to heal that wound right now. Because there's an association with an I who doesn't want to hear it like that. And every
Right.
single little thing that you hear is absolutely for you and a gift for you.
It is for me. It's not to me. Yes. Byron Katie taught me that. Yeah. But this is even deeper than, holy Jesus. You just said everything that happens is not to you, it's for you. But
Right.
I was not thinking this deeply on it.
Sure,
I was,
sure.
whew, wow.
Yeah, it definitely, it definitely goes all the way to the core.
Yeah.
And when it's taken all the way to the core, that's true transformation. At first
Mm,
you get these kind of concepts, and there's these different spiritual teachings that give you all these different kinds of
right,
spiritual concepts,
right, right.
and they make you feel good for a little bit. And then, as you recognize the suffering is still there, then
Yeah,
the seeking doesn't stop, which is beautiful.
right.
And then it's like it just gets down to the nitty gritty. It gets it down to basically burning the roots of
Mm,
individuality and
that's what
suffering.
I want. That's what I want. I want the roots burned. And I know wanting it that's dual, that's making it, that's like it's not here now because I want it.
Well, you don't want it, and that's the thing to see is that what says you want it is also an illusion.
Is the individual, right, right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So it's not like you have to stop saying I want it as an individual. you just all you do is notice that it's an individual that wants.
Right, right.
That's
Oh,
it. That's it. So then there's no problem with wanting that, is there?
right. I guess if you put it that way, yeah.
Well, what would be the problem? And see, the thing is, if there's not a problem about wanting, then the wanting doesn't become any issue, and it actually stops even becoming wanting. It stops even being wanting. Because yeah, wanting is an illusion. Wanting is association as an individual that is
Right.
trying to get something that's not already here.
You're
And
right.
it's something that's going on in the illusion. It's also an indication of a desire, like a root
Right.
desire,
Yep.
and there's not that wanting is gonna also have you have this experience of seeking too.
Right.
So it's
Exactly.
not like anything. It's not like anything is wrong. Any kind of wanting. I have noticed one thing is wanting only enlightenment, liberation, freedom, whatever you want to call it, whatever word you
Yep.
want to use,
Yep.
over all other wantings is what
Mm.
makes the difference. I'll say that.
What do you mean makes a difference?
That's what makes the difference. Because if there's anything else that's wanted more than liberation, like say in the moment that your niece, is it your niece or granddaughter?
Granddaughter.
Okay, in the moment that your granddaughter wants to wear those socks on the outside,
Yes. And I
there's
don't want her to.
and that wanting supersedes that want for liberation in that moment.
Oh, no shit. It's true.
You want that more? You want that more?
It's true. I wanted that more. I wasn't even thinking about liberation when I was.
So now watch what happens next time that goes on.
Wow.
When you notice
I
that you're
hope I'm freaking laughing like you are, because then I'll know. It burned, baby.
it burned, and you can get burnt. You can get that deep transformational burn from a simple little thing like your granddaughter wanting to wear her socks on the outside of her pants.
Really?
Yes, it could be anything. It could be anything. There's absolutely no difference in illusions. The difference in illusions is just something that we assign to it. There's actually no difference between them.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we design priority. We design something more a bigger illusion than that one. That one would be a little one, but it
Right.
wasn't little. It was big when I
It
think
was,
about it now.
yeah, if it's a trigger, it's big
It was
enough.
big
Any
enough.
trigger is big enough.
Exactly. Totally big enough. Yes. I thought
Yeah.
of it as a little thing, but I'm seeing now it was definitely big enough. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That lack of love, that sense of separation, it's big enough.
But it makes no sense because okay, so this mind put more emphasis on the thing that happened with my nephew about my sister because that seemed bigger. It
Right.
seemed more personal.
Yeah.
It seemed more. It was definitely an attack, a so-called attack on this character,
For
which
sure.
yeah, which Hannah's socks were not a direct. That wasn't direct,
No, but it still is. It's assault,
but
an
it's
assault
still it was big and it didn't want to let go. When the bigger one, the so-called
seemingly.
bigger one, went
Yeah.
away on its own.
Yeah, well, and that's also something that you've been looking at. That's something that's something that's been seen. That's something that where you have a sensation arise where someone's attacking an individual. That was so direct and so obvious. It was just way more
Yeah,
apparent. See?
right. That's
So
true.
that's why these subtle ones can't hide from you either if you're aware of sensation. If you're aware of sensation, even these subtle ones, and see, these subtle ones are these subtle ones are also just as healing. So it's like
Oh,
any and yeah, and if they're missed, they're just as missed.
yeah. I don't want to miss
If
out.
they're just brushed under the carpet.
I don't want to brush nothing under the damn carpet
I
anymore.
know. I know. Isn't that awesome? All right. So yeah,
Okay.
I got a couple other questions.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna go to
Okay.
them. And I love you. I really appreciate this
Oh
conversation.
my God, that was a great. Well, they always are, but thank you. Thank you very much.
I love you.
Love you too.
Aloha.
Bye.
Okay, Bob Shine. What's so special about the Christmas season? What's the meaning and significance of Christmas? Well, a thought makes stuff special. Nothing special at all. I like the way my husband Tony put it the other day. He said, um, Christmas is a tradition, just like weekends. It's like my husband and I were raised Christian in this lifetime. Well, not he was raised Catholic, I guess. That's kind of like the same thing because we have Christmas. Let's put it that way. That's how it's the same. So we have Christmas. We've had Christmas trees, and we started off with our kids and had Christmas trees with them. And boy, do they get excited about it! They're super stoked. Yeah, it's fun. Nothing is special unless we say it's special. And yeah, and if it becomes special, then of course it needs to be defended too, right? And then there's reasons why we should have Christmas or we should celebrate Christmas and whatever. Kind of like there's reasons why we should do some whatever we do on the weekend. It's fun. And astrologically, I know there's some things about Christmas being special for some reason and stuff like that, and religiously and stuff like that. And here's the thing: it's all made of thought. That's why it's like it's fun to play with. It's great. It's not really for wisdom dialogue. It's like all made of thought. Okay, it's interesting. It's an interesting point of view. Put it that way. So, Bob, if you want to elaborate on that or you want to talk with me, please raise your hand. Yay. Molly, can you speak to setting intentions, resolutions, goals, and to following through with them? I know those are words related to being an individual, but it seems fun and joyful to have healthy lifestyle habits and to participate in life in a creative and consistent way. Can practical intentions foster awakening and help one to drop the habit of seeing the illusion of separation? Great, Molly. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. These are wonderful. I appreciate this so much. Can you speak to setting intentions, resolutions, goals? Okay, that's all that is noticing what's setting intentions, resolutions, and goals. That's it. That's it. In my own experience is just noticing. Here's one really simple intention. I'm gonna do yoga tomorrow. It's really simple. I'm gonna do yoga tomorrow. All there is noticing that that's a thought arising in consciousness. That it's not me. That's all. So the intention is fine. The intention doesn't have to lead to suffering. It doesn't have to be a setup for suffering. Same thing with resolutions and goals. Same exact thing. Here's the thing. It doesn't have to be thought about except in the instant that it's being put to use. Let me put it this way. The mind can be a tool. The mind can be a tool instead of a chatterbox. Okay? So an intention arises, no problem. A resolution arises, no problem. A goal arises, no problem. The moment that becomes my intention, my resolution, my goal, it's a setup for suffering. Whether or not the intention, goal, resolution is met, it's a setup for suffering. Why? Because it's association as an individual who actually has control over what's about to happen. Here's the thing. When the thought arises, I'm going to do yoga tomorrow, there's a good chance that energy is moving in the direction of me doing yoga. Consciousness is moving in the direction of me doing yoga already. That's why that happened. As soon as there is an association with that's my goal for tomorrow or my intention, then that's just resistance to what's already set in motion. Okay? Doesn't mean that won't change, or it might change or whatever. It might change, the intention might change. The resolution might change, that's fine. It also makes it really hard to keep an intention. It's also hard to keep a resolution, hard to keep a goal. Because there's this individual that seems to need to do something about it. Okay? Needing to follow through with them, which is the second part of that question, and to follow through with them. What follows through with intentions, resolutions, and goals is only consciousness. Consciousness is not a real I like that. Consciousness is only the feeling I am. Okay? That feeling. And out of that feeling, thoughts are set in motion and they manifest. So what follows through with them is consciousness. As an individual, there's no following through. There's no individual to do any of that. As awareness, there's only witnessing. Okay? So when it's identifying as the one who set the intention, that's where it is. That's what's a setup for suffering. I know these are words related to being an individual, but it seems fun and joyful to have healthy habits and to participate in life in a creative and consistent way. So participating in life in a creative and consistent way is love. All creativity comes from love. Anything else is make-believe. It's going to pass away. All creativity comes from love. And it's a sharing of love. I know these are words related to being an individual, but it seems fun. Okay, see the but in there? I know these are words related to being an individual, but it seems fun. So the seeming that it's fun is taking precedence over seeing that there's no individual doing this. There's no individual making these intentions, resolutions, and goals. That's just spontaneously arising and it's spontaneously followed through or not. Doesn't matter if it's following through. It doesn't matter if it's following through. The thought, I have this intention, the thought, I have this resolution, is already an energy set in motion before it's even consciously recognized as a thought. Okay? So there's no individual to follow through it. It seems fun and joyful to have healthy lifestyle habits. Healthy lifestyle habits seem fun and joyful. Oh, that's always us that's fun and joyful. We bring that feeling to anything. Unhealthy lifestyle habits can also be fun and joyful because it is we who bring fun and joyful as an interpretation to any experience. Any and every experience. Is that awesome or what? In fact, it's funny. I had a dream. I had a dream last week. It was hilarious because the dream was I was getting my legs amputated. And what's funny about that is it was fun and joyful in the dream. Nighttime dream. It's not a matter of what happens on the surface. We are the fun and joy in everything, And to participate in life in a creative and consistent way. Yeah, that's love. That's love. Creative and consistent. Can practical intentions foster awakening? Anything can foster awakening. Anything. If it's allowed to be association with truth and not association with illusion, then it's fostering awakening. So it doesn't matter what it is. It could be practical intentions. It could be intentions, the experience of intentions not being made manifest that can foster awakening. It could be the experience of intentions being made manifest. It could be the experience of having no intention. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's just an experience. That's passing thing, and it does not matter what the experience is. It does not matter what the experience is. Consciousness is going to lead to whatever experiences are necessary and whatever experiences basically to meet you where you are at mentally. Let's put it that way. Consciousness is going to meet you where you are mentally. Whatever experience you're having is the experience that can foster awakening. It does not matter what it is. Hooray. Hooray. Okay, so Molly, if you would like to dialogue with me about that, you just raise your hand. I see you said totally, so maybe that's totally answered for you. Okay, here's Lori. Lori says, I completely stopped Christmas this year. No buying gifts, no tree, nothing. Yay, feels so damn good. Awesome, Lori. Awesome. That sounds really, really fun, too. Did you see Christmas with the Cranks? That's a great, fun movie. If you haven't seen Christmas with the Cranks, I recommend. Molly said, hooray, hooray, Molly. But the tree has been absent from my life for 12 years this year. Kind of like the 12 days of Christmas. How fun. Yay, Lori. Yay. Well, you know what I'll do? I'll take a picture of my tree and the presents and everything, and then you can at least see a tree. How about that? You can see a Christmas tree. We had our presents up at Thanksgiving. We had our present, or we didn't have, yeah, we had presents and a Christmas tree, or maybe just a Christmas tree at Thanksgiving, and had a bunch of people over, and people are like, hey, okay, it's obvious that Christmas is coming. Yeah, so maybe I'll send a photo via Facebook. That'll be fun. All right. So we're at 4:10 now. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. I will be signing off unless I have something else here. And you know what? I think I actually do have something else here. Let me go back to Wisdom Dialogues Online. Let's see if I have something. I think I had one more question. When I get those live questions, I like to go to them. Because they're live, man. They're live. Okay, let's see. Here's the post. And why do we have to heal anything? Can't we just have fun? Well, it's kind of like what we were just talking about. As long as there's not healing, as long as there's not healed, there's not fun, period. Not healed, not fun. Okay? What needs to be healed anyways if we're already perfect? Exactly. Not us. That's for sure. Just the idea that we're not perfect. The idea that we're separate, guilt, that kind of stuff. They all come up in these different ways. One really good example that Lori gave was that one with the socks, the granddaughter with the different color socks. Great example. That's all it is. It's so simple. It's like every day. It's like every day is a new adventure in consciousness, a new adventure of allowing more love, a new adventure of allowing more peace and calmness and laughter and play and fun. So hooray, everybody. I love you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And if you're into Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas. If you're into anything else, have a very merry, whatever that is. Yeah. I love you so much. Aloha. Check out Miracle Botanicals, my essential oil company. I'll throw that one in there. Aloha.